Denver Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. So it's come down to making these pre-games now very brief. You have what I call, in my co-host calls, the Elway as usual mantra over at the 8 turd polishing platforms, all seemingly getting their script from a front office that should have been dismantled, 5 seasons ago. When you listen to their rhetoric, it sounds like the same BS that they were putting out the year before and the year before that wait till next year you'll see. And they're basing it's going to be a playoff, going to the playoff bowl again as their evidence. The performance against the Kansas City Chiefs. I do think, though, that the crap that was sold to the fan base by this front office was so through the roof, out into the stratosphere, into the cosmic universe, over the top, that I think they lost a lot of people who even remotely bought into yet another, sales pitch. So sure, you're going to have your fans out there that no matter what, how bad and how many times they're made to look like a fool, it's okay. Just keep giving it to me. Just keep giving it to me. Yeah, you'll always have them. They'll just don't worry. Just trust the plan. It all reminds me of the whole Trump thing, quite frankly. But there were reports. Just getting back to this Kansas City game. There were reports that there were celebrations going on in the locker room, celebrations. And for me, this is a clear sign how far down the tubes this organization has got, because growing up, 70s, even a little bit of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, Broncos, maybe early 2000 Broncos, none of this was acceptable. 2015 Broncos, this kind of what's going on isn't acceptable. I mean, I'm just going to say it, and you may not like it, but as this game got into the 27-0, Kansas City's defense, first of all, looked like they were getting into that prevent, lay off the gas, kind of, yoo-hoo, yeah, we're here. We're just kind of, the effort definitely was, you could see they weren't making that big of an effort. It was visible, very visible. Then, of course, Mahomes getting really sloppy. It's all right, whatever. I'll throw it right to Josie Jewell. We've seen this all year long, too, here you go, Simmons. I'm only 5 yards in front of you, and here you go. Let me just toss this little pass to you. I did mention, too, that, I complained. I said, look, Simmons left his guy, and if this quarterback wasn't an idiot, and this would be the Ravens, you would have had a touchdown. Then that's exactly what happened with Mahomes' little rugby play there. Touchdown, Simmons leaves his guy, and he's off to the races for a touchdown. And, of course, these are all causes for celebration. We're sold. And the front office would love you to think that, don't worry, it's proven right now. Everything is proven that this we're on the right track. This is a open and shut case of we're finally found ourselves. And like I said, I think about 75% of the fan base is calling bullshit on it, rightfully so. So what you're getting now, this is the talking points coming out of Dove Valley is that you're going to get you got to have Russell Wilson stop being a pocket quarterback. Okay, we got to get away from that model. I just want to say something. If you watch the San Francisco and Tampa Bay game, you have up and coming player personnel with San Francisco, and they have a guy named Purdy, if I'm pronouncing that right, Purdy, quarterback. And you had Tom Brady on the other side, whose player personnel in that offense is taking some hits. And you have, two pocket quarterbacks. And you got Brady can't hit the side of a barn because he can't just sit back there like it back in the old days with that stellar offensive line and just slice and dice defenses. So he's throwing picks and throwing 55 times, forget the running game. I think, Tom Brady better readdress that running game. But, yeah, on the other side, you have the guy who's got a stellar offensive line. I don't know, we always see this. He's not running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and he's slicing and dicing. A good, really good Tampa Bay defense slaughtered it, took him to the slaughterhouse. But the model is in Denver now is let's get after you just watched the guy get a concussion. So the answer, of course, from this front office, and then they send the talking points to their turd polishers out there in their media. Because let me just make this point very clear: you don't hear this same turd polishing media polish turds for the Rockies, for instance. If this was going on like this, which it has been, that you'll get the proper reaction from the same media. Like there needs to be a big front office cleared house, but not no. Not with the Broncos. When it's clear as the day, you're getting these same talking points. So the plan now is we're going to let Russell Wilson run around like a chicken with his head cut off. Don't look downfield, and hope that when he's running around, he doesn't get killed. If he just slides, okay, you're opening up yourself as a running back, okay? You're opening up yourself, to take hits. Just directly. There's no way around that. That's what it is. And, again, and I say this, fans love it when you get they want Ben Roethlisberger is what they really want. / John Elway. They want 5 guys hanging off a quarterback because this, really is sexy to these guys that, have never played football, hang out at the bar, 5 guys hanging off of a quarterback as he's throwing, touchdown after touchdown. It's just, that's fairy tale stuff. It's just not the game of football. And I made the same complaint with the Lamar Jackson people out there in Ravens land. No, don't talk about that. Well, their own fan base is split on that. You don't have Lamar Jackson going a full season. You're not going to get that from Russell Wilson either. It's just, and matter of fact, Russell Wilson is past his prime. That guy takes hits. It's different than a younger guy taking hits. We already saw it didn't take him long. He's ripping up muscles and stuff like this. Russell Wilson is correct to be a pocket quarterback. He knows that. Oh, no, you can't do that. They got to have him run around, run around like a chicken with his head cut off and hope that there's a receiver open. Here we got receivers that have a hard time getting open just on their initial routes, let alone you want them to go to the second level. That's what Metcalf and those guys were doing. But you don't have receivers that can even block. And let's talk about receivers because this is another part of this, I call it Raiders of the 90s mentality that the front office has had for going on. This will be going on 8 years. Next year, it'll be going on 8 years. And, of course, you'll have the Kool-Aid drinkers telling us that this is going to be a playoff team. Of course, we'll get that during the offseason. But like I said, 75% of the fan base isn't buying it. They're not buying it. Even if they were to stumble into the playoffs, they're just – can they compete with the Chiefs, the Bills, Philadelphia? No. And look at the scores. Look at the score. Yeah, look at the score. I looked at Kansas City just totally taking their foot off the gas pedal and getting sloppy like everybody else did against the Broncos. Nobody wants to look at, we're the only channel that pointed out all the experimentation that was going on. The 5th best defense. So then why are everybody getting pass happy that they're not even passing teams? Because they want to experiment. They got, a guy's never taken a snap in the Ravens. Their quarterback, he's throwing the ball around like he thinks he's Tom Brady. That is not respect for a defense. They know where the player personnel is. And then that's another thing, too, was brought up. They keep selling, are we sure we really have the good player personnel? Oh, yeah. This player personnel. The question keeps coming up, and I'm sure the ownership is asking this question, and rightfully so. This front office hasn't got anything right with player personnel. They really haven't. The Browning experiment, where's that? Gregory's sitting his ass in the hot tub the whole season. Everybody finally admitted in turd polish land that, yeah, we saw that coming. and you're paying him. Again, bad management. Now you're going to lose a great pick in the draft. A great draft is all a great draft picks coming up because this team is so dysfunctional is lost because of bad management. Seattle's going to just totally rake in. That's a team to be looking out for, the Broncos. They're a team that, to me, looks like they're gearing up for the playoffs, not the Denver Broncos. And you can thank bad management in Dove Valley for making that happen. Russell Wilson, up and down like a yo-yo. Sure, he can run around, but he ain't Russell Wilson, in college, coming out from college anymore. Making plays. So here's this, and then I want to get into this too. This goes back to the Raiders of the 90s. You got, again, Dove Valley putting out the talking points. All we need is a receiver. Let's go ahead. We'll ship offensive linemen out for all of the crap that people rightfully give Josh McDaniels over in Raider country. He does know one thing. He's got to build from the inside out. He knows that. He knows that he's in trouble because they really are lacking like the Denver Broncos in that department. So the Broncos release an offensive lineman. Celebration, you hear these Kool-Aid drinkers. Celebration, he sucks. He sucks. Well, maybe if they actually used him properly, but nobody can. I've noticed that the Broncos' pass defense has improved in the last couple of games. Give them credit for that, but their run blocking is just like went down the toilet. So it's like, there's no consistency yet again there. So, I just don't build from the inside out. It's, again, another 8 years in a row of edges, corners, receivers. And that's exactly how the Raiders of the 90s were. Until finally, Old Man Davis died out and they started to get more line-centric. And that was Bill Musgrave, and that was, Carr in that time where they made that, had Carr not broke his leg, I really believe they would have made it to the Super Bowl and had a good chance to win it. But I digress. So I'm just saying that it's just, we've entered it's going to be one absurd theory after another on these Broncos until they, like I said, the key is simple. Clear out the front office. Get a mindset of what the identity is going to be. Stick with that. Get the scouts that can scout that, good ones, that know how to, and start developing, how to develop talent, how to build off that talent. It's what Kansas City did. It's what the Bills did. It's what Detroit's doing now. It's what, and again, because there's so much mismanagement, and you're stuck with the albatross of Russell Wilson's contract, it's going to hurt for a while, but that's where you got to start. Again, front office, scouting, then, GM, then scouting, then head coach, everybody on the cohesiveness. What is our identity? And stick to itness. And yes, it's going to piss off Kool-Aid drinkers because they all believe, they're all a bunch of believers, religious believers in this, what I call the Elway cult of we're just a quarterback away. Until that happens, until that, they commit like they did back in the old days, what they were going to be and build off of that and with great scouting, great people who can scout, with great people that know about identity building, not quick fixes, quick Band-Aids. Oh, yeah, just grab that receiver over there. The Bills did it. The KC, they went and got that receiver over there. That's not going to help this team. I mean, if you can't figure that out, I can't help you. There is no help for you, Mr. Walton. If you think these quick fixes, these Band-Aids, that front office that you inherited is going to change anything, they just get worse every year. And sure, okay, 3 wins, 4, 5, you say they get 7 wins next year. Where are you going? With a $250 million albatross contract. And so far behind in the building, this team is clearly not a quarterback away. There are problems everywhere on this team. And it's not just the head coach. That's a minor problem that's been going on. It's a minor problem. And then to blame Hackett for the contract of Russell Wilson is outrageous. And then the guy that has the biggest office in Dove Valley says, I have nothing to do with this team, puts out a video distancing his actual involvement with that contract and Russell Wilson, and in the hope that the panic that ensued, the hope to bring in Aaron Rodgers, all mismanagement. It's just and I don't know. I'm just getting to the point where I agree with my partner. It's just this is futile to even do these anymore because they just don't want to learn. The ownership, maybe they give them another year. Say, yeah, we'll give you 2 years. We said 2 years. We'll give you 2 years. Maybe that was the deal that was made. So they got 1 more year, and of course they're really grasping at straws. I like too. You have the same turd polishers that drummed out Fangio. Oh, he's too strict. Players don't want to have to actually listen to coaches, and we're going to bring this guy in that they all were on board with. And now they're, of course, and we were the people who always got it right, saying this is going to be the most flammable coaching staff. They're saying, well, Hackett will be there. Well, of course Hackett's going to be there because nobody's going to come here. Nobody's going to come here. Nobody. I mean, Hackett's got that going for him. They know they're not going to get Sean Payton. He came out, I guess, to quiet, like Aaron Rodgers did the same thing, just to quiet the Bronco nonsense, this media nonsense. That Sean Payton has any desire whatsoever to come to the number. It's never going to happen. So Sean Payton comes out and quiets it and says, yeah, no, man, I'm looking at these teams. No mention of the Broncos, of course not. I wouldn't until they get that front office squared away. There's nobody's going to be there. And, you can sit there and hope all you want about next season like you did this season, the season before, and the season before. Fine. But, it's just, you keep doing the same thing over and over. What are you expecting is going to happen? Nothing. Just a shit team, a shit organization. And I can imagine that there's been nothing but finger pointing going on and excuse making has been through the roof. They get so upset with us because, we're telling it like it is that they go and get my co-hosts removed from them too, because they can't handle somebody out there pointing the finger at them. They point the finger at coaches. Oh yeah, it's that coach. Yeah, definitely his fault. We got to fire him. But they don't like the finger when the finger's pointed at them. Saying, look at all these crap decisions coming out saying, oh well, Gregory was a great decision. Well, no, it wasn't. You have to be on friggin' heroin or something, on a trip and mushrooms or something to think that was good. Everybody knew what was going to happen. Juwan James, but these aren't bad deals. No. Russell Wilson, no, not a bad deal. Yeah, it's just your front office. They're excuse making. If it was my team, you guys wouldn't even have a job. You guys would be on the street. There'd be no doubt about that. We get people in that really understand how to build the organization with identity. This is what we are. You guys love to say we're number something defense. We're number 5 offensive line. You have no identity. That's all you have are just numbers you throw out. And you're lucky that all the teams you play decided to either get away from what worked, because they could throw on you and run at you on will, and then they let's work on these plays that we've been working on. And some of it, like in Seattle's case, they still won the game, but others, like the Texans, it went and bit them in the ass. I think they hit San Francisco at the right time. They can sit there and say, how about San Francisco this and that? But they were transitioning from, and I don't know, again, it would go back to Trey Lance, why Kyle Shanahan was insistent to run Trey Lance around like a chicken with his head cut off, and guess what got him killed? Because that's such a great model. Now he's got a pocket quarterback who's slicing and dicing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Gee, I wonder which model I would go with. I don't know. You've got the offense and defensive lines built up. Yeah, I'd put the quarterback that can slice and dice back there. You got the infrastructure to support it, so that's where I would go. But hey, I'm not. Everybody wants to see Ben Roethlisberger with 5 guys hanging off of him and throwing touchdown passes. It's princess quarterbacks, and forget everything else. Now, let's not do dynasty building, and that's what I'm asking for as the Denver Broncos fan. I want a dynasty here. I don't give a fuck about that. Just solely focused on the quarterback and a couple of princess receivers to go along with it. No, I want domination from stem to stern, top to bottom. That we are going to pose our will on you because we built this. And I see some other teams heading in that direction, but not. You're never going to get there. Quick fixes. Basically, you're never going to get there if you think you're something you're not. And that's what the Denver Broncos are. They're something at the front office. They think they're something they are not. Yes, you do not have the player personnel. Period. End of story. We got 7 years of this. If you haven't figured it out by now, you'll never figure it out.